Captain Alex Turner stood at the observation deck of the Deep Space Research Station Haven, watching the alien ship approach. The massive vessel looked like a crystal cathedral floating through space, its blue lights pulsing in patterns he had never seen before. After 300 years of searching the stars, humanity was finally meeting other intelligent life. "Captain, they're requesting permission to dock," said Commander Lisa Park, checking her instruments. "Their translation systems are already working with ours." Alex nodded. "Grant them docking bay 7. And Lisa, make sure our best people are ready for this." The alien delegation that walked through the airlock was unlike anything from Earth's movies or books. The leader was tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to shimmer. Its large eyes were kind but held a look that Alex couldn't quite understand. Behind it came creatures that looked like walking crystals, and others that moved like elegant insects. "Greetings, young ones," the silver alien said, its voice somehow both musical and strange. "I am Ambassador Zethkar of the Vraxian Empire. We represent the Galactic Coalition." "Welcome to Haven Station," Alex replied. "I'm Captain Turner. We're honored by your visit." Ambassador Zethkar made a sound that might have been laughter. "How refreshing. Your species shows such promise, despite your youth. We have been watching your world for some time now." Dr. Sam Mitchell, Earth's chief archaeologist, stepped forward. "Watching us? For how long?" "Oh, not very long by galactic standards," said one of the crystal beings. "Perhaps 50 of your years. We wanted to be certain you had developed enough to understand our presence." Lisa Park felt something odd about the way they spoke. They used simple words, the way adults talk to children. "Developed enough for what?" "For membership in the greater community, of course," Zethkar explained. "Though you must understand your species is still very young. Most civilizations need thousands of years of guidance before they can truly contribute to galactic society." The insect-like alien stepped forward with jerky movements. "I am Hivesinger Clicks of the Threx Collective. Your planet shows the typical signs of a nursery world. Fresh geological features, simple technology, basic social structures." Alex felt a flash of irritation but kept his voice calm. "Our technology may seem simple to you, but we've achieved faster-than-light travel and built colonies across our solar system." Yes, Zethkar said with that patronizing tone again. "Very impressive for such a young race. Most species take much longer to reach even basic spaceflight." Dr. Mitchell crossed his arms. "Just how young do you think we are?" The crystal, being that had introduced itself as Resonance of Truth, vibrated softly. "Your species achieved sapience perhaps 1 million years ago. Your planet's surface is quite young, geologically speaking. Very few deep structures or ancient formations." "Actually," Lisa said carefully, "humans have been intelligent for much longer than that. Our archaeological records show—" "Oh, my dear," Zethkar interrupted gently. "It's natural for young species to overestimate their age. The Coalition has studied thousands of developing worlds. We can tell these things quite accurately." Sam Mitchell's jaw tightened. These aliens were treating them like children who didn't know their own history. "With respect, Ambassador, I think you might be mistaken about—" "Please don't be embarrassed," the Threx diplomat clicked. "All young races go through this phase. They want to seem older and more advanced than they are. It's perfectly normal." Alex could see his people getting frustrated, but he needed to keep things diplomatic. "Perhaps we could show you some of our historical records? Our museums have artifacts dating back hundreds of thousands of years." Resonance of Truth made a sound like wind chimes. "That would be delightful. Young civilizations often have fascinating origin myths and cultural stories." The condescension was getting worse. They weren't even trying to hide it now. Everything humanity said was dismissed as the cute stories of a baby species. "We would be honored to offer your world a place in our mentorship program," Zethkar continued. "The Coalition has helped guide dozens of young races toward true civilization. Under our protection, humanity could develop properly over the next few thousand years." "Protection from what?" Alex asked. "From yourselves, mostly." The Threx clicked with what might have been amusement. "Young species often make dangerous mistakes. Wars, environmental destruction, dangerous experiments. Our guidance prevents such—" Tragedies. Lisa Park was studying the aliens' equipment while they talked. Something bothered her about their technology. It looked advanced, but some of the basic principles seemed familiar. The power systems, the display interfaces, even the mathematical symbols on their screens looked like things human scientists had been working on for decades. "Your offer is generous," Alex said diplomatically, "but humanity values its independence. We prefer to learn through our own experiences." Such spirit. Zethkar seemed delighted. "That attitude will serve you well once you mature. But for now, you must trust those who have walked this path before you." Sam Mitchell stepped closer to the aliens. "And how long have your species been spacefaring?" "The Vraxians achieved interstellar flight nearly 200,000 years ago," Zethkar said proudly. "We were among the first members of the coalition." 200,000 years? Sam repeated slowly. "And the coalition itself? Founded approximately 150,000 years ago," Resonance of Truth chimed, "when the first great civilizations recognized the need to guide younger species." Something in those numbers bothered Sam, but he couldn't put his finger on it yet. "And before that? Were there older civilizations?" The aliens exchanged looks. "There are legends," Zethkar said carefully. "Ancient ruins scattered across the galaxy. Mysterious technology that even we don't fully understand. We call them the precursors, but they vanished long before any current civilization arose." "How long ago?" Lisa asked, suddenly very interested. "The oldest precursor sites date back perhaps 500,000 years," the Threx clicked. "But they left no clear records. No one knows what happened to them." Alex noticed that his people were all listening very carefully now. "These precursors," he said, "what were they like?" "Unknown," Zethkar admitted. "Their technology is far beyond anything the Coalition has achieved. Their ruins are found on worlds across the galaxy, but always empty. It's one of the great mysteries of our time." The meeting continued for several hours, with the aliens offering various beginner technologies that they thought might help humanity develop faster. They spoke of educational programs, cultural exchanges, and slow integration into galactic society over the next few millennia. As the delegation prepared to leave, Zethkar made one final offer. "We would be honored to host a human delegation at Nexus Prime, our capital world. You could see the wonders of true galactic civilization and learn what your species might achieve with proper guidance." Alex looked at his team and saw the same thought in all their eyes. These aliens knew something about the galaxy that they weren't sharing, and their casual dismissal of human achievements suggested they had seriously underestimated Earth's people. "We would be honored to visit Nexus Prime," Alex said formally. "Dr. Mitchell will prepare a cultural presentation about human history. I think you'll find it quite interesting." After the aliens left, Alex turned to his team. "Sam, I want you to dig deeper into our archaeological records. Something about their timeline doesn't add up." "Already on it," Sam replied grimly. "Lisa, can you analyze the scans of their technology?" "Way ahead of you," she said. "Captain, I think these advanced aliens might be in for quite a surprise when they learn who they're really dealing with." Alex stared out at the stars, wondering what secrets lay hidden in humanity's forgotten past. The aliens thought they were mentoring children, but something told him they had seriously misjudged the true age of the human race. Lieutenant Jake Miller tried not to stare as their ship docked at Nexus Prime. The Coalition's capital world was a massive space station built around a small planet, with ships from dozens of different species coming and going like busy insects. The human delegation had been traveling for 2 weeks, and Jake was excited to see what galactic civilization really looked like. "Stay close and keep your eyes open," Captain Turner had told them before they left. "We're here to learn, but I have a feeling we might teach them a few things too." Ambassador Zethkar met them at the airlock with the same patronizing smile he had worn on Haven Station. "Welcome, young friends, to the heart of galactic civilization. I'm sure this will be quite overwhelming for you." Dr. Rachel Stone, Earth's quantum archaeologist, smiled politely. "We're looking forward to learning about your culture." "Oh, we have so much to show you," Zethkar said, as he led them through corridors filled with aliens of every shape and size. But we'll start gently. The Museum of Young Civilizations will be perfect for your level of understanding. Jake caught Rachel rolling her eyes slightly. The aliens were still treating them like children on their first day of school. The museum was enormous, with displays showing the development of different species across the galaxy. A towering rock-like alien introduced himself as Stone That Speaks, the museum's curator. Here we have examples of typical young civilization development. Stone That Speaks rumbled, gesturing to a display case. Species that achieved spaceflight within the last 50,000 years. And here, he moved to another section, we can place humanity among other recently emerged races. The display was being prepared as they watched, with a small section, marked Sol System humans, placed between exhibits for species called the Nectari and the Bolivians. Recently emerged? Jake asked. Our records show humans have been on Earth for hundreds of thousands of years. Stone That Speaks made a sound like grinding rocks that might have been laughter. My young friend, all species think they are older than they are. It's natural. Your planet's geology tells the true story. While the curator continued his lecture, Dr. Rachel Stone quietly studied the other displays. Something was bothering her about the artifacts in the ancient precursor section. The shapes, the proportions, even the way the mysterious devices were designed. They all looked strangely familiar. She moved closer to a case containing what was labeled as a precursor navigation device. The curved metal surface had symbols etched into it that made her heart race. They weren't exactly like any human language, but the mathematical principles behind them were identical to navigation systems she had studied in Earth's oldest archaeological sites. Jake, she whispered, come look at this. Lieutenant Miller joined her at the display. What am I looking at? This device is supposedly from the mysterious precursors, Rachel said quietly. But look at these calculations. The mathematical constants, the navigation principles, they're identical to systems we found in the deep sites on Earth. Meanwhile, engineer Pete Collins was having his own revelations in the museum's technology section. The aliens had proudly shown him their most advanced quantum processors and faster-than-light communication systems. But as Pete studied the devices, he realized something shocking. These aren't advanced at all, he muttered to himself. They're primitive versions of technology we've already developed. The Coalition's quantum computers used processing methods that human scientists had moved beyond 50 years ago. Their FTL drives operated on principles that Dr. Einstein's successors had perfected in the 23rd century. Everything the aliens proudly displayed as cutting-edge technology was actually based on theories that humans considered basic science. Pete found Jake and Rachel near the precursor exhibit. We need to talk, he said urgently. Their technology isn't more advanced than ours. It's less advanced. What do you mean? Jake asked. I mean their superior computers are running on processing systems we replaced decades ago. Their communication networks use frequencies we mapped out over a century ago. Either they're hiding their real technology, or they're not as advanced as they want us to think. Dr. Rachel Stone was photographing the precursor artifacts with a hidden scanner. It gets stranger. These mysterious ancient devices use the same design principles as archaeological finds from Earth's deepest excavation sites. The proportions, the materials, even the way they're constructed. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Jake asked. I'm saying that either this is the biggest coincidence in galactic history, or these precursor artifacts were made by humans. While they talked, Stone That Speaks continued his tour with the rest of the delegation. The precursors remain our greatest mystery, he was telling Captain Turner. They built cities across the galaxy, then vanished without explanation. Their technology is so advanced that even after 200,000 years of study we can barely understand the basics. 200,000 years, Captain Turner repeated. That's about when your oldest civilization started exploring space, right? Precisely, the curator boomed. The Vraxians and Kashari were among the first to find precursor ruins. That's how they developed the technology to build the coalition. Captain Turner exchanged a meaningful look with Dr. Sam Mitchell, who had been studying historical records on his portable device. And these ruins were already ancient when you found them? Oh yes, hundreds of thousands of years old at minimum. The precursors must have been an incredibly advanced species. We've built our entire galactic civilization by slowly learning to copy their technology. Dr. Mitchell stepped forward. Have you ever found any precursor remains? Bones, genetic material? Anything that might tell you what they looked like? Stone that speaks hesitated. Well, there have been a few discoveries. Skeletal remains that don't match any known species. But they're kept in the restricted archives. Only the highest level researchers have access. We'd love to see them, Captain Turner said casually, for comparison with our own archaeological findings. Oh, I'm afraid that's impossible, the curator rumbled apologetically. Such advanced research would be far beyond your current understanding. Perhaps in a few thousand years, when your species has matured. The condescension was getting old, but Turner kept his temper. Of course. We understand. Later that evening in their guest quarters, the human delegation gathered to share what they had discovered. Jake reported on the familiar-looking precursor artifacts. Pete explained the primitive nature of coalition technology, and Rachel showed her scans of the navigation device. It's all starting to make sense, Dr. Mitchell said, studying the data. The timeline, the technology, the mysterious disappearance. What if the precursors didn't vanish? What if they just went into hiding? You think the precursors were human? Jake asked. I think the precursors are human, Mitchell replied. Our ancestors, anyway. Think about it. These aliens found human ruins all over the galaxy and built their civilization by copying our technology. But they never found us because we were on backwater worlds like Earth, with our memories wiped or suppressed somehow. Captain Turner was quiet for a long moment. If that's true, then we're not the young species they think we are. We're the elders they've been studying and worshipping for 200,000 years. But why would our ancestors hide? Rachel asked. If humans had a galactic empire, what made them abandon it? That, said Dr. Mitchell grimly, is what we need to find out. The next morning, Dr. Rachel Stone made a request that shocked their alien hosts. She wanted to visit the restricted archives to see the precursor remains. Ambassador Zethkar was appalled. Absolutely impossible, he said. Such exposure could be dangerous to your developing minds. But Stone, that speaks, perhaps impressed by Rachel's obvious intelligence, made an exception. I will allow a brief viewing, he rumbled, but only for educational purposes. What Rachel saw in the restricted archive made her blood run cold. Lying in a preservation chamber, perfectly intact, was a human skeleton. Not similar to human, identical in every detail. The placard read, Unknown precursor species, age 547,000 years. She managed to take a quick genetic scan before Stone that speaks ushered her out. But she had seen enough. The skeleton's DNA was a perfect match for modern human genetics. That night she called an emergency meeting of the delegation. We're not visitors here, she told them quietly. We're coming home. Dr. Sam Mitchell wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stood at the edge of the massive excavation site in the Sahara Desert. 3 months had passed since Dr. Rachel Stone's shocking discovery at Nexus Prime, and her transmitted coordinates had led them to this remote location in what used to be the middle of nowhere. How deep are we now? Asked Maria Rodriguez, the team's head geologist, as she climbed out of the dig site. 40 meters and still going, Sam replied. Carbon dating puts the deepest artifacts at over 400,000 years old. Ben Carter, the team's anthropologist, emerged from one of the tunnels carrying a strange metallic device. Sam, you need to see this. The construction techniques down there aren't just old. They're impossible by any ancient civilization standards we know about. The discovery had started small. Following Rachel's coordinates, they had expected to find maybe some unusual rock formations or ancient tools. Instead, they had uncovered what appeared to be a massive underground complex that stretched for kilometers in every direction. It's not built, Maria had reported after her first survey. It's grown. like someone used some kind of molecular construction technology to shape the rock itself into rooms and corridors. Now, 3 months later, the site had become the largest archaeological project in human history. Teams from every major university and government agency had joined the dig, but the more they uncovered, the more questions they had. Dr. Carol White, a physicist from MIT, was studying energy readings from the deepest chambers. The power sources. Down there are still active, she told Sam as he joined her at the monitoring station. After 400,000 years, there's still energy flowing through systems we can barely understand. Any idea what they were used for? Sam asked. Best guess? Genetic research and long-term storage. We found what looks like a massive database containing DNA samples from thousands of species, including perfect samples of modern human genetics. Ben Carter joined them, still carrying the metallic device he'd found. That's not the strangest part. Look at this. He activated the device and holographic displays filled the air around them. The symbols and interface looked alien, but the mathematical principles were unmistakably human in origin. It's a computer, Carol realized. But the processing power makes our best quantum systems look like pocket calculators. And it responds to human touch, Ben added. No one else can activate it. We tested it with volunteers from different countries, different ethnic backgrounds. Anyone with human DNA can use it, but it won't work for our AI systems or even our trained animals. Sam studied the holographic displays. The symbols were slowly becoming readable, as if the device was learning to communicate in modern languages. What kind of data is stored on it? Star charts, Ben replied. Thousands of them. Trade routes, colony locations, military installations. It's like looking at a map of a galactic empire. Meanwhile, reports were flooding in from similar sites around the world. Captain Alex Turner had coordinated the global search from Haven Station, and the results were staggering. In the Mariana Trench, marine archaeologist Dr. Tony Green's team had discovered submerged cities built with the same impossible construction techniques. The buildings were designed for human habitation, with perfect atmosphere and pressure control systems that were still functioning after hundreds of thousands of years underwater. The architectural styles match human aesthetic preferences perfectly, Tony reported over the communication link. Doorways sized for human proportions, furniture designed for human comfort, even art on the walls that depicts humans in various activities. From Antarctica, explorer Kate Adams transmitted images of flash-frozen laboratories hidden beneath miles of ice. The preservation here is incredible, she said. We found research notes written in symbols that our computer systems are slowly translating. They appear to be technological blueprints for devices that match current human technology almost exactly. What kind of devices? Sam asked. Faster than light engines, quantum computers, genetic manipulation tools. It's like looking at the prototype, designs for everything humanity has developed in the past century. Dr. Carol White was growing more excited as the data came in from around the world. Don't you see what this means? Every major technological breakthrough humanity has achieved in the past few hundred years. We weren't inventing new things. We were remembering old ones. The evidence was becoming undeniable. The underground facilities weren't ancient ruins from some unknown civilization. They were human installations built by humanity's ancestors when Earth was just one colony in a vast galactic empire. But what happened to them? Maria asked. Why did they abandon these facilities? Where did the people go? Sam was studying the star charts from Ben's device. According to this data, the human empire controlled about 60% of this galaxy. Thousands of colony worlds, massive space fleets, technology that the current galactic coalition can barely understand. And then, Carol prompted, and then, about 400,000 years ago, everything just stopped. The star charts show a rapid withdrawal from outer colonies followed by what looks like a systematic shutdown of all major installations. Ben pointed to symbols on the holographic display. I've been working on translating these records. Near as I can tell, it wasn't a military defeat or natural disaster. It was a choice. A choice to abandon a galactic empire? Maria asked skeptically. More than that, Ben said grimly. A choice to hide. These records talk about something called the Great Silence, a deliberate program to conceal humanity's presence in the galaxy. Dr. Carol White had been running calculations on her portable computer. Sam, if these dates are accurate, the human withdrawal from the galaxy happened right around the time the Coalition's oldest civilizations started their space programs. You think that's a coincidence? Sam asked. I think our ancestors were watching when the first alien species achieved interstellar flight, Carol replied, and for some reason, they decided to step back and let the younger races develop on their own. The implications were staggering. Earth wasn't humanity's birth world, it was a hideout. The young human civilization that had developed over the past few 100,000 years wasn't the beginning of humanity's story, it was the middle chapter. There's something else, Ben said, activating another section of the device. These records mention other worlds like Earth. Preservation sites, they call them. Planets where human populations were placed in some kind of cultural stasis with their memories of the Galactic Empire suppressed. How many worlds? Sam asked. Ben studied the star charts. Dozens, maybe hundreds. If these records are accurate, there are human colonies scattered throughout the galaxy, all of them believing they're young civilizations that developed naturally on their homeworlds. Dr. Carol White looked up from her computer. And none of them remember being part of a galactic empire because their ancestors deliberately made them forget. But why? Maria asked again. What could make an advanced civilization choose to abandon everything they'd built? Sam was quiet for a long moment, studying the ancient data. Maybe they weren't abandoning it, he said finally. Maybe they were protecting it. Protecting it from what? Not from what, Sam realized. From whom? What if our ancestors realized that their presence in the galaxy was preventing other species from developing? What if they stepped back not because they were defeated but because they were wise? The idea was revolutionary. Humanity hadn't fallen from greatness. They had chosen to step aside so other species could grow. Earth wasn't a primitive backwater world. It was a carefully designed preservation site, maintaining human culture and genetics until the galaxy was ready for humanity's return. There's only one way to find out for sure, Sam said, looking at his team. We need to go deeper. These facilities were designed to preserve humanity's history and technology. If we can unlock their secrets, we might finally understand what our ancestors were planning. As the sun set over the Sahara excavation site, Dr. Sam Mitchell realized that everything humanity thought it knew about its place in the galaxy was about to change. They weren't the newcomers the Coalition believed them to be. They were the returning elders, and their time of hiding was coming to an end. Dr. Carol White stared at the quantum storage device they had found in the deepest chamber of the Sahara facility. After weeks of careful analysis, she had finally figured out how to access its contents safely. The device hummed with energy that seemed impossible for something so old. Are you sure this is safe? Asked Dr. Emma Johnson, the neurobiologist who had joined the team after hearing about the strange effects the ruins were having on some of the researchers. As safe as we can make it, Carol replied, adjusting the containment field around the device. The energy readings suggest it's some kind of information storage system, but the data is encoded in quantum patterns I've never seen before. Sam Mitchell joined them in the underground laboratory they had set up. Any luck accessing the files? Better than that, Carol said excitedly. I think I know what this thing is. It's not just a storage device, it's a memory bank. Designed to hold and transmit complex neural patterns. Emma frowned. Neural patterns, you mean thoughts? More than thoughts. Complete memories, experiences, maybe even personality fragments. The quantum encoding is incredibly sophisticated, far beyond anything our current technology can achieve. Sam felt a chill. Whose memories? Based on the genetic locks we found, I'd say they belong to the original builders of this facility, ancient humans who lived here 400,000 years ago. Emma studied the readings on her scanner. Carol, if you're right about this being a memory storage system, then activating it could be dangerous. We don't know what kind of psychological effects direct neural contact with ancient memories might have. But Carol was already making final adjustments to the containment field. The only way to understand what happened to humanity's galactic empire is to hear it from someone who was there. I'm going to try accessing the data. Absolutely not, Sam said firmly. If this thing can transmit memories, we need to test it. On volunteers under controlled conditions. I volunteer, came a voice from behind them. Captain Alex Turner stood in the entrance to the chamber, having arrived on the latest transport from Haven Station. Captain, you don't understand the risks, Emma protested. I understand that we need answers, Alex replied. And I've been having dreams ever since we started this excavation. Strange dreams about star charts and space battles and evacuating colonies. If this device can explain what's been happening to me, then I'm willing to take the risk. Emma looked alarmed. Dreams, Captain? You should have reported these symptoms immediately. How long have you been experiencing them? Since the first day we uncovered the chamber, Alex admitted. At first I thought it was just stress from the discovery. But the dreams are getting more vivid, more detailed. Sometimes I wake up knowing things I shouldn't know. Star navigation techniques, alien languages, tactical information about species I've never heard of. Dr. Carol White checked her instruments. Captain, the quantum field from this device has been active since we found it. If you've been exposed to low-level emanations for weeks, then the neural pathways might already be established. What does that mean? Sam asked. Emma ran a quick scan on Captain Turner with her medical equipment. It means his brain is already responding to the quantum patterns from the storage device. Look at these neural activity readings. His brain is showing activity in regions that should be dormant. The regions that control long-term memory access, Carol realized. Captain, I think you're already downloading information from this device. The dreams you've been having aren't dreams at all. They're recovered memories. Alex felt a strange sensation, as if something was awakening in his mind. Recovered from where? From your genetic memory, Emma said, studying her readings in amazement. Carol, this is incredible. The quantum patterns aren't just stored memories. They're activation keys designed to unlock dormant neural pathways in human DNA. Carol's eyes widened. You mean the ancient humans built genetic memory triggers into their descendants? Exactly. Look at these readings. Captain Turner's brain is accessing information stored in what we used to think was junk DNA. The quantum field from the device is acting like a key, unlocking genetic memories that have been dormant for hundreds of thousands of years. Sam stared at the device with new understanding. This whole facility isn't just a storage site. It's an awakening center, designed to restore humanity's suppressed memories when the time was right. Captain Turner felt the strange sensation growing stronger. Images flashed through his mind. Massive space stations, alien worlds, fleets of human ships moving between the stars. But these weren't just random images. They came with context, with emotions, with the knowledge of someone who had lived through these events. I remember, he said softly. Not everything, but pieces. I was someone else. Admiral Alexander, of the human stellar navy. I commanded evacuation fleets during something called the Great Silence. Emma's scanner was beeping frantically. His neural activity is off the charts. Captain, what else do you remember? Alex closed his eyes and let the memories flow. The younger races were developing faster than we expected. The Vraxians had achieved faster than light travel, and we knew others would follow. Our presence in the galaxy was starting to influence their development. Influence how? Sam asked. They were trying to imitate us instead of developing their own solutions. Everywhere we went, younger species would abandon their natural development to copy our technology and culture. We realized we were stunting their growth. Carol was recording everything. So your people decided to withdraw? More than withdraw, Alex said, the memories becoming clearer. We decided to hide completely. The Great Silence was a plan to remove all traces of human presence from the galaxy, allowing the younger races to develop naturally. But you didn't just disappear, Emma pointed out. You set up preservation sites like Earth. Alex nodded, still accessing the ancient memories. Dozens of worlds were chosen as arcs. Populations were placed there with their memories suppressed, their technology reduced to basic levels. The idea was to preserve human culture and genetics until the younger races had matured enough to handle contact with an elder civilization. Sam felt the pieces falling into place. And these awakening centers were designed to restore your memories when the time came. When the younger races had developed enough to be true partners instead of imitators, Alex confirmed. The quantum storage systems were programmed to activate when human populations encountered advanced alien civilizations. Emma was studying readings from around the world. Captain, it's not just you. We're getting reports from every excavation site. People who have been exposed to the quantum fields are starting to experience memory awakenings. The process is happening globally. Carol checked her instruments. The facilities are all connected somehow. They're sharing information, coordinating the awakening process. It's like a planetary network designed to restore humanity's true identity. Meanwhile, at Haven Station, Lieutenant Jake Miller was experiencing his own awakening. He had been analyzing data from the Nexus Prime mission when suddenly he knew things about Coalition technology that he had never learned. The memories weren't his own, but they felt completely real. Commander Park, he called over the communication system. You need to see this. I'm remembering things about Coalition technology that explain why it seemed so familiar. Lisa Park joined him at his workstation. What kind of things? Their quantum computers are based on principles we developed 500,000 years ago. They're faster than light. Drives use theories that ancient human scientists perfected. Everything the Coalition considers advanced technology is actually primitive copies of our original designs. Lisa felt her own memories stirring. Images of vast laboratories, of human scientists working on technologies that made current Coalition systems look like stone tools. Jake, I'm starting to remember things too. The humans who built these systems, we were so far ahead of the current galactic civilizations that our basic tools were beyond their most advanced theories. Back in the Sahara facility, Captain Turner was accessing deeper layers of the genetic memory. The preservation wasn't meant to be permanent, he said. When the younger races had developed enough to stand as equals, we were supposed to return and offer guidance as mentors, not masters. And how were you supposed to know when that time had come? Sam asked. Alex smiled as the final pieces of the memory activated. When they found us first. When civilizations like the Coalition became advanced enough to discover the preservation worlds and make contact, that would be the signal that they were ready for the truth. Dr. Emma Johnson looked up from her readings. Captain, the neural integration is accelerating. You're not just accessing Admiral Alexander's memories, you're becoming him. Not becoming, Alex corrected. Remembering who I always was. The human consciousness is more complex than we realized. Admiral Alexander didn't die 400,000 years ago. His memories were preserved in the genetic code of his descendants, waiting for the right moment to reawaken. Carol White was studying the quantum patterns flowing through the facility's systems. This is incredible. The entire human species was designed to carry the memories of their ancestors. Every person descended from the original galactic colonists has the potential to remember their past lives. The first sign of Earth's transformation came at dawn over the Sahara excavation site. Dr. Sam Mitchell watched in amazement as massive structures began rising from the desert sand, their surfaces gleaming with technology that had been hidden beneath the Earth for 400,000 years. The quantum storage systems are activating worldwide, Dr. Carol White reported, her instruments reading energy signatures that were off every known scale. Every preservation site is coming online simultaneously. Captain Alex Turner, now fully integrated with Admiral Alexander's ancient memories, stood watching the sunrise with the calm confidence of someone who had commanded such awakenings before. The Earth Defense Network is initializing, he said. The planet is remembering what it really is. Around the globe, similar transformations were taking place. In the Mariana Trench, Dr. Tony Green's underwater cities were rising to the surface, revealing themselves as massive orbital elevator platforms that stretched up through the atmosphere. In Antarctica, Kate Adams watched in wonder as the ice melted away from gigantic shipyards that began constructing vessels from quantum-stored blueprints. Captain, called engineer Pete Collins from his monitoring station, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the solar system. Something big is happening on Mars, Europa, and the asteroid belt. Alex smiled with ancient knowledge. The preservation network extends throughout human space. Mars was never a dead world. It was a dormant military command center. Europa's oceans hide the largest ship construction facility in this sector of the galaxy. Dr. Emma Johnson was monitoring the neural effects on the human population. The awakening process is stabilizing. People around the world are successfully integrating their genetic memories without losing their current personalities. It's like watching an entire species grow up all at once. Because that's exactly what's happening, Alex replied. The preservation protocols were designed to merge ancient wisdom with modern perspectives. We're not becoming our ancestors. We're becoming what they always intended us to become. Meanwhile, the Coalition fleet under High Counselor Vorthak was approaching the edge of the Sol system, confident in their ability to contain what they believed was a primitive species contaminated with dangerous precursor knowledge. Sensors show increased energy readings from the third planet, reported the Vraxian tactical officer. The humans appear to be activating some kind of planetary defense system. Vorthak dismissed the report. Impossible. Our intelligence shows they have barely achieved faster-than-light travel. Whatever they're doing, it cannot possibly threaten a Coalition fleet. But as they drew closer to Earth, the readings became harder to ignore. The planet was surrounded by defense platforms that hadn't been there days before, and energy signatures suggested technology far beyond what the Coalition possessed. High Counselor, the sensor operator called nervously. I'm reading ships emerging from quantum storage throughout the system, dozens of them. Their design signatures don't match any known technology. Vorthak studied the displays with growing alarm. The ships appearing around Earth were elegant and deadly. Their hull configurations, unlike anything in Coalition databases, more disturbing. Their energy readings suggested power sources that made Coalition vessels seem primitive by comparison. On Earth, Captain Turner received a communication from Dr. Rachel Stone, who had barely escaped Nexus Prime before the Coalition implemented their containment protocols. Alex, the Coalition knows everything, Rachel reported over the quantum communication link. They've been suppressing human colonies for 200,000 years, stealing our technology, and building their civilization on the ruins of our empire. We know, Alex replied calmly. The awakening has restored our complete historical records. The AudioBook question is whether we handle this diplomatically or demonstrate why our ancestors chose to hide our capabilities. Lieutenant Jake Miller joined the conversation from his position aboard one of the newly activated ships. Captain, I've been analyzing Coalition fleet movements. They're not just coming to Earth. They're surrounding every known human colony world simultaneously. Alex's expression grew serious. This wasn't just an attempt to contain Earth. The Coalition was trying to prevent humanity's awakening across the entire galaxy. Jake, signal all human colonial worlds. Transmit the awakening codes through the quantum network. Sir, that will activate every preservation site in known space. The Coalition will realize the scope of what they're facing. They're about to realize it anyway, Alex replied. Better to face them as the unified civilization we really are. Across the galaxy, the awakening signals reached dozens of human worlds that had been classified as primitive colonies. On each planet, ancient preservation systems came online, restoring suppressed memories and revealing hidden technologies. The backward human settlements suddenly became advanced civilizations that remembered their true heritage. High Counselor Vorthak received reports from across Coalition space with growing horror. Human worlds that had been under quarantine for millennia were suddenly broadcasting on advanced quantum frequencies. Ships of unknown design were emerging from hiding places on dozens of planets. This is impossible, he muttered, studying the tactical displays. There are human military installations throughout our territory. How did our scouts miss such massive constructions? His intelligence chief, a Kashari named Nexthul, provided the answer that Vorthak didn't want to hear. High Counselor, our ancestors didn't miss them. According to the classified archives, the early Coalition leaders knew about human military capabilities from the beginning. They chose to pretend these installations were inactive rather than face the truth. What truth? Vorthak demanded. That the humans never left, Nexthul replied grimly. They just let us think they did. Every precursor ruin we've studied, every piece of advanced technology we've reverse-engineered, every mystery we couldn't solve, it all belonged to a human empire that was so far beyond us that they chose to hide rather than dominate. On Earth, Ambassador Zethkar requested an emergency communication with Captain Turner. The Vraxian diplomat who had been so condescending during first contact now spoke with barely controlled fear. Captain Turner, the Coalition demands an explanation for the massive military buildup in human space. These activities constitute a violation of galactic peace accords. Alex appeared on the communication screen, but his bearing was different now. He stood with the authority of someone who remembered commanding fleets when the Vraxian Empire was still learning to build metal tools. Ambassador Zethkar, Alex said with calm dignity, I believe there's been a misunderstanding. You see, there is no military buildup. These are simply the defensive systems that have been protecting human space for the past 400,000 years. The only thing that's changed is that we're no longer hiding them from you. Impossible, Zethkar protested. Our surveys showed no such installations. Your surveys showed what we wanted them to show, Alex replied. The preservation protocols included advanced camouflage systems designed to keep our facilities hidden until the awakening process was complete. Dr. Rachel Stone appeared beside Captain Turner on the communication link. Ambassador, I have extensive documentation from your own archives proving that the Coalition has known about humanity's true nature from the beginning. Your civilization was built by reverse engineering human technology stolen from our abandoned installations. Zethkar's composure finally cracked. Even if what you say is true, the Coalition cannot allow a precursor species to destabilize galactic civilization. We have a responsibility to maintain order. Order? Alex asked with a slight smile. Ambassador, let me share some tactical information with you. The Coalition fleet currently surrounding Earth consists of 847 warships representing the most advanced military technology your alliance can deploy. Are you familiar with human military doctrine from our imperial period? We have some fragmentary records from precursor archives. Then you know that a single human heavy cruiser from that era carried more firepower than your entire fleet combined. Earth's orbital defense platforms were designed to handle threats measured in thousands of such cruisers. The implications sank in slowly. Zethkar's species had spent 200,000 years reverse engineering technology that was so far beyond them they had barely scratched its surface. Now they were threatening the builders of that technology with weapons that were evolutionary steps behind. What do you want? Zethkar asked quietly. Captain Turner's expression softened. The same thing we've always wanted, Ambassador. To see the younger races of the galaxy grow and prosper. Our ancestors didn't hide because you were a threat to us. They hid because we were a threat to your natural development. But the hiding time is over, Alex continued. Your civilizations have matured enough to stand as true partners rather than imitators. The question is whether you'll accept humanity as the elder mentors we've always been, or whether you'll force us to demonstrate capabilities that would make this conversation very brief. High Counselor Vorthak, monitoring the conversation from his flagship, made a decision that would determine the future of galactic civilization. He could order his fleet to attack, knowing they would face technology beyond their understanding. He could retreat and try to rally the Coalition. Dr. Rachel Stone moved carefully through the restricted archives of Nexus Prime, her heart racing as she accessed files that the Coalition's highest leaders had kept hidden for thousands of years. Archive keeper Silandra, the sympathetic Zephyrian, who had been secretly helping her, watched the entrance nervously. You must hurry. Silandra's crystalline voice chimed softly. If High Counselor Vorthak discovers what we're doing, the consequences will be severe for both of us. Rachel's fingers flew over the archive interface, downloading centuries of suppressed records. These files date back to the founding of the Coalition. Why would they hide their own history? Because it's not their history, Silandra admitted, her crystal form flickering with distress. The Coalition's greatest shame is that we built our entire civilization on a lie. The first file Rachel opened made her blood run cold. It was a military report from 200,000 years ago, filed by the first Vraxian exploration fleet to venture beyond their home system. The report described finding massive ruins on every habitable world they visited, ruins that showed signs of a single incredibly advanced civilization that had once controlled the entire galaxy. They knew, Rachel whispered. From the very beginning they knew about the human empire. Silandra's form pulsed with shame. The early coalition leaders found technology so advanced it seemed like magic. Instead of trying to find the builders, they decided to claim it as their own. More files revealed the scope of the deception. Every major technological breakthrough in coalition history had been reverse-engineered from human artifacts. Their faster-than-light drives, quantum computers, advanced materials, even their medical technology, all of it stolen from the ruins of humanity's ancient empire. The Museum of Young Civilizations, Rachel realized. It's not a museum at all, it's a cover story. The Coalition needed to explain why they couldn't understand the precursor technology completely, Silandra confirmed. By presenting it as mysterious ancient artifacts, they could justify their limited knowledge while hiding the fact that they were using stolen designs. Rachel found records showing that Coalition exploration teams had been systematically looting human ruins for millennia, taking everything valuable and destroying evidence that might reveal the true builders. Entire archaeological sites had been obliterated to maintain the fiction that the precursors were gone forever. But what about the preservation worlds? Rachel asked. Surely they found planets with human populations? Silandra's form dimmed with guilt. They did. The early records show contact with dozens of worlds inhabited by humans. But the Coalition leadership made a terrible decision. The files Silandra showed her were marked with the highest classification levels. Military reports describing contamination, protocol, the systematic suppression of any worlds that might reveal humanity's true nature. Contamination protocol? Rachel asked, though she was afraid she already knew what it meant. Any world with inhabitants who showed signs of being related to the precursors was classified as contaminated with dangerous knowledge, Silandra explained. The Coalition would either quarantine such worlds or, in extreme cases, intervene to prevent the inhabitants from rediscovering their heritage. Rachel felt sick as she read report after report of Coalition forces suppressing human colonies, disrupting their development, even causing wars to keep them from advancing too quickly. Earth had been lucky. Its location, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, had kept it hidden from Coalition scouts until recently. How many worlds? Rachel asked. Hundreds, Silandra replied sadly. Most were classified as pre-contact primitives and placed under indefinite quarantine. A few that showed signs of rediscovering precursor technology were subjected to more aggressive intervention. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Captain Alex Turner was experiencing the full integration of Admiral Alexander's memories. The transformation was complete now. He remembered commanding the evacuation fleets, making the difficult decision to hide humanity from the galaxy, and designing the preservation protocols that would keep human colonies safe until the time for revelation arrived. The awakening was supposed to happen gradually, he told Dr. Emma Johnson as she monitored his neural patterns. When the younger races became advanced enough to find us, the quantum triggers would activate slowly, allowing humans to remember their heritage without overwhelming their current personalities. But something went wrong? Emma asked. The Coalition's interference, Alex replied grimly. By suppressing human colonies for 200,000 years, they prevented the natural awakening process. The quantum systems had to adapt, storing more and more memories until the pressure became enormous. Dr. Carol White was monitoring the global network of awakening sites. Captain, we're getting reports from around the world. The integration process is accelerating beyond our control. People are remembering multiple past lives, accessing memories from dozens of different ancestors. It's a cascade effect, Alex realized. The quantum systems are trying to restore 400,000 years of suppressed memories all at once. The preservation worlds weren't designed to handle such massive data transfer. Emma looked worried. What does that mean for the people experiencing these awakenings? It means we're running out of time, Alex said. Either we help humanity remember who we are in a controlled way, or the memories will overwhelm our current identities completely. On Nexus Prime, Dr. Rachel Stone was discovering the Coalition's most carefully guarded secret. In the deepest archives, she found records of something called the Watchers, a secret organization within the Coalition government dedicated to monitoring and suppressing any signs of human awakening. They've been watching Earth for decades, she told Silandra, reading through surveillance reports. Every human space mission, every archaeological discovery, every technological breakthrough, they've been cataloging everything, waiting for signs that we might remember our past. And now that the awakening has begun? Silandra asked. They're terrified, Rachel realized, reading the latest intelligence reports. High Counselor Vorthak has authorized something called Final Containment Protocol. The files she found made her blood run cold. Final Containment Protocol was a plan to completely quarantine the Sol system, cutting Earth off from all galactic contact until the precursor contamination could be neutralized. If that failed, they were prepared to take more extreme measures. They're going to claim we're a threat to galactic stability, Rachel said, downloading every file she could access. A species infected with dangerous precursor knowledge that must be contained for the safety of all civilized worlds. Silandra's form flickered with panic. Dr. Stone, you must return to your people immediately. If Vorthak implements final containment, the Coalition fleet will blockade your system within days. Rachel was already preparing to leave, but she needed one more piece of evidence. Silandra, is there proof that the Coalition leadership knows the truth about humanity? Something that would expose their lies to the galactic public? The Central Archive, Silandra said after a moment. High Counselor Vorthak keeps personal records in a quantum vault that only he can access. If such proof exists, it would be there. Can you get me access? Silandra was quiet for a long moment. It would mean the end of my position. Possibly my exile from Zephyrian society. But yes, I can bypass the security systems for a few minutes. Meanwhile, engineer Pete Collins was making discoveries of his own in the Coalition's technical databases. With his newly awakened memories, he could see clearly how primitive their technology really was compared to ancient human designs. Jake, he called to Lieutenant Miller, who was also experiencing memory integration. Look at these fleet specifications. The Coalition's most advanced warships are using weapon systems we abandoned 300,000 years ago for being too crude. Jake studied the data, his own awakened memories providing context. Their shields can't handle directed quantum disruption, their hulls are vulnerable to gravitational shear weapons, and their computer systems are so slow they'd be sitting ducks against real human military technology. The question is, Pete said grimly, do the awakening sites on Earth have access to that kind of technology? Back in the Sahara facility, Captain Turner was accessing deeper layers of the preservation network. What he found was both encouraging and terrifying. The preservation sites aren't just memory storage centers, he told his team. They're fully functional military installations designed to activate when the awakening process began. Dr. Sam Mitchell looked up from his analysis of the facility's deeper chambers. Military installations? What kind of military capabilities are we talking about? Everything, Alex replied, his ancient memories providing detailed specifications. The Earth Preservation Network includes orbital defense platforms, quantum disruption cannons, gravitational manipulation systems, and a fleet of ships that make current Coalition vessels look like rowboats. Ships? Carol asked. Where? Hidden in quantum storage throughout the solar system. When the awakening process reaches critical mass, the preservation protocols will automatically begin restoring humanity's military capabilities. Emma looked worried. And if the Coalition tries to contain us before that happens? Alex Turner smiled with the confidence of Admiral Alexander, who had